A billionaire disguised as a homeless man is kicked out of the entrance to his own company amid shouts and disdain, until a single gesture from the least expected person changes everything in just 1 minute. Marcus Hale looks out from the 40th floor window and sees ants. No, not ants. People. His employees. But from the height where he's lived for 14 years, the difference is imperceptible. 42 years old, divorced 6 months ago, father to 2 teenagers who barely reply to his texts. Marcus built a tech empire valued at $500 million. He inherited the company from his father at 28, multiplied the wealth tenfold, won awards, graced magazine covers. But this morning, opening his desk drawer, he found an anonymous letter. Do you really know the people who work for you? Or do you only know their badges? The phrase echoed in his head throughout the board meeting. As Henry Tate, his operations director, presented productivity numbers, Marcus scanned the faces around the table. Did he know these people? Patricia Drake, HR director, always smiling, always talking about corporate culture. But how did she treat the janitor who cleaned her office? He'd never paid attention. The meeting ends. Marcus is alone. He picks up the phone, hesitates, dials. Julian, I need you to get some things for me. Old worn-out clothes. No, not for donation. For me. His personal assistant, Julian, goes silent for 3 seconds. Too long. Sir, you heard me right. I want to look like a homeless guy. Tomorrow morning, I'll spend a few hours at the building entrance. Incognito. But sir, this is dangerous? Embarrassing? Maybe. But I need to know something. Marcus hangs up. He looks out the window again. The ants keep coming and going, carrying their invisible lives. That same afternoon, in the building's basement, Robert Hayes changes out of his uniform in the cramped locker room of the outsourced security team. 56 years old, aching back, deep under eye bags. He's been working at Hale Tech for just 3 months, but it feels like 3 years. Heading straight to your other gig, Bob? Asks Mike, his afternoon shift coworker. Gotta go. Lucy has a doctor's appointment early tomorrow. Mike shakes his head. Everyone there knows Robert's story. Widowed 6 months ago, raising his 8-year-old granddaughter alone. The girl was born with a heart condition. She needs surgery. $50,000. It might seem like pocket change to those working upstairs in the glass floors. But for Robert, earning $2,400 a month as a security guard, it's an impossible mountain to climb. 3 jobs. Security in the morning, delivery driver in the afternoon, night watchman 3 times a week. 4 hours of sleep when he's lucky. His body is begging for a break, but he can't stop. Lucy can't wait. You need to rest, old man, Mike says. You're gonna burn out this way. Robert gives a tired smile. If I stop, she burns out first. He grabs his beat-up backpack, stows the empty lunch container, puts on his frayed cap. Before leaving, he glances in the cracked locker room mirror. When did he get so old? Helen used to say he had young eyes. Now, staring at his reflection, he sees a broken man holding the pieces together with duct tape and prayer. But tomorrow he'll be back, because he has no choice. And because, even exhausted, even broken, Robert still believes honest work means something in this world. The next morning at 6:47 a.m., Marcus Hale stands on the sidewalk in front of his own building. 3-day beard, ragged clothes that Julian scrounged up from who knows where, disheveled hair. He carries an empty old backpack and a dirty blanket. The transformation is striking. The $500 million CEO looks like a man with not even $3 in his pocket. The sun is rising. The first employees arrive. A woman in a pantsuit hurries by, averting her eyes. A young executive veers wide, as if poverty were contagious. 2 interns laugh and one snaps a photo. Marcus overhears. Look at this, they're even coming here now. 15 people pass. 20. 30. No one looks. No one stops. No one asks if he's okay. Marcus feels something strange in his chest. Is this how invisible people feel? Like ghosts walking among the living? At 7:15, a black Mercedes pulls into the reserved spot. Patricia Drake steps out, high heels, designer bag, phone to her ear. She looks at Marcus with visible disgust, sidesteps, keeps talking. After a few steps, she stops, turns, glares at him with hostility. She takes the phone from her ear and dials another number. Marcus is close enough to hear. Security? There's a homeless guy at the main entrance. Get him removed immediately. It gives a bad impression to our clients. Removed, like he's trash. 3 minutes later, Robert Hayes appears at the side gate. He sees Marcus sitting on the ground, leaning against the wall. He doesn't look away, doesn't quicken his pace. He stops. "Good morning, sir. Are you all right?" The voice is kind, genuine. Marcus looks up and sees a tired man in an immaculate but old uniform, deep bags under his eyes, but kind eyes. I'm hungry." Marcus improvises, testing. Robert doesn't hesitate. He opens his backpack, pulls out a red thermos, half-dented, pours coffee into a plastic mug. Steam rises in the cool morning air. "Here, it's still hot." Marcus takes the mug with trembling hands. Not from cold, from something he can't name. "Thank you. You got a place to stay?" "No, I got nothing." Robert squats down beside him, doesn't stand over him looking down. He meets Marcus at eye level. Equals. "Look, I don't have much to offer, but there's a shelter on 5th Avenue. The Mercy Outreach Center. Talk to Pastor Anthony. Tell him Robert sent you. They'll help." At that moment, a white Audi screeches to a halt. Henry Tate steps out, $3,000 suit, watch that costs more than Lucy's surgery. He sees the scene and his expression sours. "Robert, what the hell are you doing?" Robert stands. "Good morning, Mr. Tate. I was just feeding a bum at the company entrance? Have you lost your mind?" "Sir, he's a human being in need." "So what? Not our problem. It's his." Henry points at Marcus with contempt. "Get this guy out of here right now, and then head to HR. We're gonna talk about your fit for this company." Robert looks at Marcus, then at Henry. The choice is clear. The J.O.B. that supports his sick granddaughter or humanity. "With all due respect, Mr. Tate, I'm not evicting anyone who's not doing anything wrong. He's on the public sidewalk, not bothering anybody." The silence that follows is heavy. Some employees stop to watch. Others hurry past, avoiding the confrontation. Henry gives a cold smile. "I see. So you've made your choice. And you? If you were in Robert's shoes, would you risk the job that keeps your sick granddaughter alive to defend the dignity of a total stranger? Where do we draw the line between survival and humanity?" Henry doesn't leave. He stands there on the sidewalk, pulling his phone from his pocket with deliberately slow movements. He wants Robert to see, wants him to feel the weight of what's about to happen. "Patricia? Henry, I need you down here now. We have a situation." Robert stands tall, but Marcus sees his hands tremble slightly. Not from fear, from adrenaline, from doing something he knows will cost him dearly, but can't avoid. "You don't have to do this," Marcus whispers to Robert. "I'll go." "No." Robert's voice is low but firm. "You didn't do anything wrong. I won't let them treat you like that." Patricia Drake appears 3 minutes later, heels clicking on the marble entrance. She sees the scene and her face twists into an expression of offended superiority. "Robert Hayes, right?" She checks something on her tablet. 3 months on contract. Evaluation pending. "Well, you've just failed." "Patricia, please," Robert says calmly. "I just offered coffee to someone who was cold. You disobeyed a direct order from a director. That's insubordination." She turns to Henry. "Process the termination immediately. No notice. For cause." Marcus feels rage rising in his throat. He wants to stand, shout who he is, destroy these two people right there. But something stops him. He needs to see how far this goes. He needs to understand what he's built. "For cause," Robert repeats, incredulous. "For offering coffee? For insubordination? For giving the company a bad image? For..." Patricia searches for words. "For not understanding the standard of excellence we expect." A small group of employees has gathered at a safe distance. Some film on their phones. Others just watch, faces carefully neutral. No one speaks. No one intervenes. Robert closes his eyes for a second. When he opens them, there are tears, but his voice doesn't break. "All right, I accept." He turns to Marcus. "Sorry about this. Good luck." But before leaving, Robert does something that freezes Marcus inside. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a crumpled $20 bill, and places it in Marcus's hand. "It's all I got right now, but take it. It'll help you today." Marcus stares at the bill. $20. To him, it's cab fare. To Robert, whom he'll learn about later, it was his entire week's grocery money. For bus fare. For getting Lucy to the doctor. "No, I can't take it." "You can. And listen to this." Robert squats down one last time, looks Marcus in the eyes. "Your situation doesn't define your worth. You matter as much as anyone in that building. Don't forget that." Robert turns and enters the building for the last time as an employee. He goes to collect his things. Henry and Patricia follow like vultures circling carrion. Marcus sits there alone on the sidewalk, holding $20 and a lesson he didn't ask to learn. 2 hours later, Marcus is in his office. He returned through the service entrance, showered in the executive private bathroom, changed into one of the suits he keeps in his personal closet. Julian nearly fainted when he saw his boss walk in looking like a bum. "Don't say a word," Marcus orders. "Just do what I'm about to ask." Now he's seated behind the mahogany desk, staring at the $20 bill. He placed it there in the center under the lamp. A reminder. "Julian, I want everything on Robert Hayes. Everything. Full background." 30 minutes later, Julian returns with a folder. His face is pale. "Sir, I think you need to see this." Marcus opens the folder, and with every page, the hole in his chest grows larger. Robert Hayes, 56 years old, retired Army veteran, 20 years of service, 2 medals for valor, served in peacekeeping missions in Afghanistan, rescued 17 lives in a rescue operation after a roadside bombing. Wife Helen Hayes, deceased 6 months ago, hit and run, drunk driver who fled the scene. Granddaughter Lucy Hayes, 8 years old, under his legal guardianship, congenital heart defect, requires urgent surgery, estimated cost, $50,000. Current jobs 3, daytime security, afternoon delivery, night watchman. Total monthly income, approximately $4,500. Lucy's medication expenses, $1,200. Rent, $850. Leftover, $2,450 for everything else. Current savings for surgery, $38,000. Shortfall, $12,000. Marcus reads and rereads. His hands shake. Julian, he was $12,000 away from saving his granddaughter. "Yes, sir. And we just took away a third of his income." Julian doesn't respond. He doesn't need to. Marcus stands, goes to the window. Down below, the ants keep working. But now he knows one of them is a war hero who lost his wife, is losing his granddaughter, and still found dignity and humanity to offer coffee and $20 to a stranger. "There's more, sir," Julian says quietly. "The security logs. Robert was never late, never had a complaint. There's a note from his previous supervisor recommending a bonus for exemplary conduct and positive impact on the work environment." Marcus closes his eyes. "And Patricia fired him for cause?" "On Mr. Tate's orders, yes." The anger Marcus feels now is different from this morning. It's not hot, explosive rage. It's ice. It's resolve. Julian call an all-hands meeting. Main auditorium. Every employee. No exceptions. "When, sir?" "Now. Immediately." "But sir, we have..." "Now." Julian rushes out. Marcus returns to the desk, picks up the $20 bill, puts it in his pocket. He'll return it. With interest. With a lot of interest. 15 minutes later, the auditorium starts filling up. People arrive confused, scared. Emergency all-hands meetings are never good news. Mass layoffs? Restructuring? Company sale? Henry and Patricia enter with the air of those in charge. They sit in the front row. Patricia scrolls through something on her tablet. Probably Robert's termination papers, preparing to justify if asked. No one will ask. No one ever asks. Marcus enters through the side door. He's still in the bum clothes. The silence that falls is absolute. "Good morning," he begins, voice echoing through the speakers. "Does anyone know who I am?" Confusion. Murmurs. Some recognize the voice but not the appearance. Others think it's some weird corporate theater. Patricia stands. "Excuse me, who are you and how did you get in here?" "Security." Marcus removes the cap, sheds the ragged jacket. Underneath, he's wearing his usual white dress shirt. The auditorium erupts in shocked whispers. Patricia sits so fast she nearly topples from her chair. Henry is pale, sweating. "I'm Marcus Hale, CEO of this company, and I spent this morning as a homeless man in front of our building." He lets the information sink in. 623 people passed me between 6:45 and 8:30 a.m. I counted. "Do you know how many stopped to ask if I was okay?" Silence. One person out of 623 showed basic humanity. And that person was fired 2 hours ago for it. People start shifting uncomfortably. Some pull out phones, searching for footage of the incident. Videos begin circulating among the crowd. Marcus nods to Julian, who projects the security footage on the massive screen. There it all is. Patricia complaining on the phone. Henry confronting Robert. The conversation. The firing. And Robert, at the end, giving his last $20 to a stranger. When the image freezes on Robert placing the money in Marcus's hand, there are people crying in the auditorium. If we're judged by how we treat those who can do nothing for us, what did today's test reveal about this company? And more importantly, what would it reveal about you? Marcus leaves the image frozen on the screen. Robert immortalized in that impossible act of giving. A man with nothing, giving everything. "You see this image?" Marcus points to the screen. "This man's name is Robert Hayes. How many of you know him?" A few hands go up, tentative. Maybe 20 in an auditorium of 600. "He worked here for 3 months. 3 months. And I'll tell you who Robert Hayes is, since we've clearly failed to know him." Marcus nods again. A new presentation appears on the screen. Photo of a younger Robert in uniform, medals on his chest. Robert Hayes, Army veteran for 20 years. 2 medals for valor. Served in the Afghanistan mission after the 2005 earthquake. Alone, he rescued 17 people from rubble. 17 lives that exist today because of this man. Murmurs in the auditorium. Henry sinks into his chair. The next image is a smiling woman, arm in arm with Robert. Helen Hayes, Robert's wife for 32 years. Deceased 6 months ago. Hit and run. The drunk driver fled and was never caught. Robert lost the love of his life and still came to work the next day because he needed to support this. An image of a little girl with curly hair and a huge smile appears on the screen. Lucy Hayes, 8 years old. Robert's granddaughter under his legal guardianship. Severe congenital heart defect. Requires urgent surgery costing $50,000. Robert worked 3 jobs, sleeping 4 hours a night to save for it. He was $12,000 from his goal. Marcus pauses, lets the weight of the number fall on the audience. $12,000. To you folks up front. He points to the executive row. That's what? 2 weeks' salary? 1 week. To Robert, it was another 6 months of triple work. 6 more months sleeping 4 hours. 6 more months watching his granddaughter get worse. Knowing every day counts. Patricia tries to stand. Marcus points at her. Sit. She sits. This morning, this man, Marcus points to Robert's image, offered me the only solid meal he'd have that day. He gave me coffee from his thermos. He treated me with more dignity in 15 minutes than 600 people did in 2 hours. Marcus pulls the $20 bill from his pocket, shows it to everyone. And when he was unjustly fired, when he lost a third of his income, when his and his granddaughter's future were destroyed, Do you know what he did? He gave me this. $20. Everything he had for the week. The silence is broken by sobs. A woman in the fifth row is crying openly. A man on the side hides his face in his hands. Marcus turns to Henry and Patricia. Stand up. Henry rises slowly. Patricia doesn't move. I said stand up. Patricia stands, trembling. Explain to everyone here why firing this man was the right decision. Henry clears his throat. Mr. Marcus, we followed standard protocol for insubordination cases. Insubordination? Marcus laughs, but there's no humor in it. He refused to evict a human being from a public sidewalk. That's insubordination. He disobeyed a direct order from a superior. And if the order was to jump out a window or set someone on fire, should we follow immoral orders just because they come from a boss? Henry falls silent. Marcus turns to Patricia. And you? You who lectures on corporate values every week. You with that framed, humanized leadership certificate in your office. Explain your values today. Patricia tries, but her voice comes out thin. We need to maintain standards. The company image. Marcus steps toward her. The company image? Patricia, let me explain something. The company image today is you firing a war hero for cause because he gave coffee to a homeless man. He projects a new image on the screen. Screenshots from social media. The firing video has gone viral. #HailTech is trending. The comments are devastating. Billion-dollar company fires security guard for being a decent human. CEO Marcus Hale allows a culture of cruelty in his company. I'll never buy Hale Tech products again. What kind of society do we have when we punish kindness? Marcus reads each one aloud. Patricia is crying now. Henry is stiff, jaw clenched. Do you know what's worse? Marcus continues. It's not the numbers, not the bad press, not the stock dropping 3% since the video leaked an hour ago. The worst is that I built a company where this was possible, where two people thought they could destroy someone's life and walk away scot-free, where 600 people pass human suffering and just don't see. He turns to the entire auditorium. How many of you saw Robert these last few weeks and didn't even say hi? How many didn't know his name? He checked your badges every morning, wished you good morning, held the door when your hands were full. And you? What did you give back? People start looking at each other, ashamed, uncomfortable. Some are crying. Others just stare at the floor. I'll tell you what this company has become. A place where following orders matters more than doing what's right. Where appearances trump dignity. Where a hero who saved 17 lives is worth less than a corporate policy. Marcus pauses, lets the weight of the words settle. That ends today. He nods to Julian, who brings a box. Marcus opens it and pulls out documents. Patricia Drake, you're fired. No severance. For cause. For violating the core values of this company. Patricia's mouth opens, closes, opens again. You can't. I can. And I am. Security, escort her to her office to collect personal items. 15 minutes. 2 guards appear from the side. Patricia is led out, sobbing. Marcus turns to Henry. And you, Henry Tate, 20 years with the company. Operations director. You're not getting fired. Henry exhales in relief. You're getting demoted. Assistant coordinator for community social programs. Salary adjusted accordingly. You'll spend the next 12 months in direct contact with realities you've pretended don't exist. Maybe you'll learn something about humanity. Maybe not. But you'll get the chance you denied Robert. Henry's face reddens. This is public humiliation. No. Public humiliation is what you did to Robert this morning. This is consequence. Take it or quit. Choose now. Henry looks around. All eyes are on him. He swallows hard. I accept. Good. Julian, get the paperwork. Marcus turns back to the auditorium. Some people are recording. Good. He wants them to. Now. Does anyone here know where Robert Hayes is right now? Silence. Then, a timid voice from the audience. A young woman, maybe an intern. I saw him at the bus stop, Madison Avenue and 42nd Street, waiting for the bus to his second job. Marcus looks at Julian. Send a team to get him. Now, with respect. Bring him back here. Yes, sir. Marcus turns his attention to the employees. While we wait, let's talk about what happens next in this company. How many times do we crucify good people to protect broken systems? And when did we decide protocol matters more than principle? 23 minutes later, the side door of the auditorium opens. Two men enter, and between them, confused and clearly scared, is Robert Hayes. He's still in his security uniform, but without the badge, without the cap, stripped of his professional dignity. As he enters the auditorium and sees 600 people staring, he freezes. Marcus sees the panic in his eyes. Robert probably thinks he's about to be publicly shamed, that this is some example for other employees about what happens to those who disobey. Marcus steps down from the stage, walks down the center aisle. Employees part, making way. When he reaches where Robert stands, the silence is so deep you can hear people breathing. And then Marcus does something no one expects. He kneels. The billionaire CEO, in front of 600 employees, phone cameras, everyone and everything, kneels before a 56-year-old unemployed security guard. Mr. Robert, Marcus begins, and his voice cracks. He clears his throat, tries again. Robert Hayes, I need to ask your forgiveness. Robert is in shock. Mr. Marcus, what are you doing? Get up, please. No. Marcus shakes his head. Not until you hear me out. Please. Robert stops, trying to pull Marcus up. His eyes fill with tears. I built a company, Marcus continues, that punishes exactly the kind of person it should promote. I created a culture where kindness is weakness, where humanity is a flaw, where you lost your job for being who I should have been. Tears stream now, unashamed. Marcus doesn't care who sees. This morning I was lost, empty, rich in money and poor in everything that matters. And you, a man with every reason to be hard, cruel, selfish. You showed me what I'd forgotten. You gave me coffee. You gave me food. You gave me dignity. You gave me $20 you didn't have. Marcus pulls the bill from his pocket. It's crumpled, warm from being close to his heart. And when I was unjustly fired, when I lost a third of my income, when my future was destroyed, I gave you this. Robert looks at the bill. Everything I had. And I told you your situation didn't define your worth. Robert sobs now uncontrollably. I just did what anyone should do. Exactly. Marcus takes Robert's hand, places the bill in it. And that's the tragedy. That out of 623 people, only one did what anyone should do. Robert, you don't have to forgive me. But I'm asking anyway. Robert pulls Marcus up, hugs him. The two men stand there, embraced, crying. The auditorium erupts in applause. But not the forced corporate kind. Genuine, emotional applause. People crying, standing, giving a standing ovation. When they finally separate, Marcus keeps his hands on Robert's shoulders. Robert, I can't undo what happened today, but I can try to make it right from here on. And I need your help for that. My help. Marcus turns to the auditorium. Robert Hayes, in front of everyone here, I want to offer you a position. Director of Culture and Human Values at Hale Tech, full executive salary. All benefits. Your job will be to ensure what happened today never happens again. That this company learns to see people. All people. Robert is speechless. He opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. Mr. Marcus, I don't have the education for that. I'm just a security guard who... You're a hero who saved 17 lives. You're a man who keeps dignity amid suffering. You're someone who chooses kindness even when it costs everything. Robert, you have the only education that matters. You're truly human. Do you accept? Robert looks around. All those people staring at him. Waiting. I accept. But with one condition. Marcus blinks. Condition? My granddaughter's surgery. I need to know she'll be okay. I can't think straight until I know she's safe. Marcus smiles. It's the first genuine smile he's given in months. Robert, the company will cover Lucy's surgery. Full cost. Top hospital. Best surgeon in the country. And all post-op care. Everything. And this isn't charity. It's our obligation. You're a hero, man. Heroes take care of others. Someone has to take care of the heroes. Robert drops to his knees. He can't hold it anymore. He cries like he hasn't since Helen died. Cries out all the fear, all the desperation, all the exhaustion. And Marcus kneels beside him again. Just holds his shoulder. Lets him cry. When Robert finally calms, Marcus helps him up. But there's more, Marcus continues. I want to create a permanent fund to help other employees and their families in emergencies. $10 million a year, renewable. The Hale Emergency Assistance Fund. It'll cover medical costs, financial hardships, crisis situations. No one else will have to choose between medicine and food. The auditorium applauds again. But Robert raises a hand, asking for quiet. Mr. Marcus, this is incredible. But can I make a request? Anything. The fund's name. Don't put my name on it. Please. Robert wipes his tears. Name it after my Helen. She always said kindness multiplies when it's shared. She deserves to be remembered that way. Marcus feels a lump in his throat. Helen Hayes Emergency Assistance Fund? Robert smiles through the tears. Perfect. Marcus turns to the auditorium. So it's decided. Starting today, Hale Tech changes. Not just in structure, not just in policies. In its soul. And Robert will help us find the soul we lost. He pauses. But one last thing needs to happen. And for that, I need all of you as witnesses. Marcus nods. Julian brings a large box. When he opens it, it's full of envelopes. In the last 2 hours, while Robert was being fetched, my team reviewed all the morning security footage. We identified every person who passed me when I was disguised. 623 people. He pulls out an envelope. Each of you who passed a human in need and did nothing will receive a letter. It's not punishment, not firing. It's a mirror, an invitation to reflect. The letter asks, if it were you on that sidewalk, how would you want to be treated? Marcus hands out envelopes to people in the front row, who take them with palpable shame. I want you to read them, think, and decide what kind of person you want to be from now on. Because this company is changing. Or if you don't change with it, it's not the place for you. He returns to the stage, Robert now at his side. Starting today, we implement the Perspective Day. Once a quarter, executives will work anonymously in entry-level roles. They'll serve food in the cafeteria, clean bathrooms, make deliveries, not to humiliate but to remember, to reconnect, to see the people who make this company possible. New applause, stronger, and more. Every employee, at any level, will have a direct, anonymous hotline to report injustices, abuse of power, or just moments where they felt human values were overlooked. Robert will lead the team investigating every case. And I guarantee we'll take it seriously. Marcus takes a deep breath. This morning, I woke up as CEO of a $500 million company. Now I'm here, humbled and grateful, understanding I built an empty empire. Robert, a man who's lost almost everything, taught me that dignity isn't in the paycheck. It's in how we treat each other when no one's watching. He looks at Robert. Or when everyone is. Robert smiles. Mr. Marcus, can I say something? Of course. Robert turns to the auditorium. For the first time, he addresses them all. I've spent my life serving. In the army on peacekeeping missions here. And I learned one thing. People show who they really are when they think there are no consequences. This morning, you showed who you were. And it wasn't pretty. He pauses. But Mr. Marcus showed who he is too. A man willing to publicly humble himself to do what's right. That's rare. That means something. He clears his throat. Helen always said, Robert, the world is full of people who talk. Pretty. But it's actions in the dark hours that show character. So I'm taking this job not because Mr. Marcus offered money, but because he knelt, because he cried, because he admitted he was wrong, and that's the start of something real. The auditorium is in total silence. Every word from Robert lands like a stone in still water, creating ripples that touch every person there. I lost Helen 6 months ago, and every day since has been a battle to stay on my feet, to care for Lucy, to not give up. There were nights I thought, Robert, it'd be easier to just stop. But I didn't, because giving up is what weak people do. And my Helen didn't marry a weak man. Tears flow freely now, from him and dozens in the auditorium. So if I can hold on to kindness after losing the love of my life, after watching my granddaughter suffer, after working 3 jobs on 4 hours sleep, you can treat the cleaning staff with respect. You can greet the security guards. You can see that the guy delivering your packages is a human being. Robert looks directly at several people he recognizes from the footage. It's not hard, costs nothing. It just requires you to remember you're humans dealing with other humans. That's all. Marcus places a hand on Robert's shoulder. Thank you, Robert, for everything. Thank you for giving me a chance to make a difference, Mr. Marcus. The two turn to the auditorium. Marcus speaks one last time. This meeting is adjourned. You have the rest of the day off with pay. Go home. Read the letters. Think. And tomorrow, when you return, decide to be better. For yourselves. For your families. For Helen. For all the Roberts in the world who deserve to be seen. People start leaving, slowly processing. Many stop to shake Robert's hand. Some apologize, crying. Robert accepts each with grace. When the auditorium finally empties, only Marcus, Robert, and Julian remain. And now, Robert asks. Marcus smiles. Now we go pick up Lucy and tell her grandpa is a superhero, and that she'll be okay, and that the world sometimes still rewards good people. Robert laughs, a sound that seems to come from a place locked away for months. Helen would like you, Mr. Marcus. Call me Marcus, just Marcus. We're friends now. Friends, Robert repeats, ting the word. Yeah, friends. If $1 billion company can change in a day, why can't our personal lives? What are we waiting for to kneel before our own lost humanity? 6 months later, the fall in New York brings milder weather and a city that seems different to Marcus's eyes. Or maybe it's him who's different. Probably both. He arrives at the office at 7:15 a.m., as always. But now, instead of entering through the executive garage straight to the private elevator, he uses the main entrance. The same entrance where everything changed. Good morning, Mr. Marcus. Claudia, the new security coordinator, greets him. She was promoted after Robert took over as director. Fresh coffee in your office. Just how you like it. Thanks, Claudia. How's your son? The knee surgery. She smiles, surprised he remembers. Much better, sir. The Helen Fund covered everything. He's back to playing ball. That's great. Give him a hug for me. Marcus heads not to the 40th floor, but to the 15th, where the new Department of Culture and Human Values is located. Robert's office is modest by executive standards. He refused the larger one 3 times, but it's full of life. Photos of Helen and Lucy everywhere. Kids' drawings on the walls. A small bookshelf with books on humanized leadership, organizational psychology, and, curiously, poetry. Am I too early? Marcus knocks on the open door. Robert looks up from his desk, where he's reviewing reports. He looks different too. Still wears a simple watch, still brings lunch sometimes, but the weight that stooped his shoulders is gone. His eyes shine again. Never too early for a friend. Come in, come in. They sit in the comfortable armchairs Robert insisted on placing in the office. To make people feel welcome when they come to talk, he'd explained. I brought the numbers you asked for. Marcus hands over a folder. Turnover down 78% from last year. Productivity up 34%. But the number that impresses me most, the 89% pride in working here? Robert finishes, smiling. How'd you know? Because I read the climate surveys every week. And I talk to people, Marcus. It's amazing what you learn when you really listen. Marcus laughs. You're embarrassing me, old-timer. Not the goal. But you need to keep leaving the 40th floor. That place is dangerous. Makes you forget there's ground below. It's gentle criticism, but Marcus knows it's true. That's why I have you. That's why you have us, Robert corrects. The whole team. Anyway, come see this. They walk down the hall to a large room converted into a community space. Sofas, a small kitchenette, bookshelves, board games. And it's full of people from different departments, different levels, talking, laughing, just being human together. The Helen Space, Robert explains proudly, opened last month. Any employee can use it during work hours. No time limit, no judgment. The idea is to build real connections between people. Marcus watches a marketing director playing chess with an IT tech. A finance manager is helping an intern with something on her laptop. No hierarchy there, just people. This is beautiful, Robert. It's what Helen would do. They head back to the office. Marcus notices a new frame on the wall. It's a child's drawing. Two figures sharing bread, with childish letters saying, "Thank you for seeing my grandpa when he was invisible." Lucy did that? Marcus asks, already knowing. She did. Last month, 3 months post-surgery. Doctors say she's recovering beyond expectations. Her heart's strong. Robert touches the frame gently. She wanted you to have a copy. Marcus feels the familiar lump in his throat. I already do. It's framed behind my desk. Replaced my diplomas. Robert laughs. Helen would say you're learning. I'm trying. A comfortable silence settles between them. Marcus looks out the window, watches the city wake up. You know what's funny? He says finally. I had everything. Literally everything money could buy. And I was empty. Now I have less time, more worries, more real responsibilities. And I'm happier than I've been in 20 years. Because you have purpose now, Robert replies. Money buys comfort, but purpose? You have to earn that. My kids noticed, Marcus shares. Peter and Sophia. After it all happened, after they saw the news, the videos, they called me, crying. Said they were proud of me for the first time in years. You reconnected with them? Yeah. We have dinner together every week now. No phones, no work. Just talk. And last Tuesday, Sophia hugged me and said, Dad, you're back. I didn't know I'd left. But she did. They did. Robert nods. Kids see what adults pretend not to. How's Lucy? Robert's face lights up. Oh, she's being a kid again, you know? Playing, running, laughing. Things she couldn't before. Yesterday she ran a full lap around the park. A full lap. And I cried, Marcus. Cried seeing her happy. She deserves it. You both do. No one deserves anything, Robert says softly. Life doesn't work that way. Bad things happen to good people. Good things to bad. But we can choose how we respond. And you, Marcus, chose to respond with humanity. That means something. A knock interrupts. It's Julian with his ever-present tablet. Sorry to interrupt, gentlemen, but we have an email from Harvard. They want to do a case study on the company transformation. And Stanford sent a proposal to interview Mr. Robert for their ethical leadership program. Robert rolls his eyes. Another university wanting me to talk? You should do it, Marcus encourages. Your story needs to be told. Our story, Robert corrects. It wasn't just me. It was you having the guts to change. It was you showing me it was possible. Julian clears his throat. Gentlemen, hate to break up the mutual admiration, but Mr. Marcus has breakfast with a random employee in 15 minutes. Oh, right. Marcus stands. Who's today? Mr. Edmund, maintenance tech. Been here 23 years. Marcus smiles. The tradition he started, breakfast every Monday with a random employee from any level, has become his favorite part of the week. He's heard incredible stories, cried 3 times, made 5 real friends. Robert, come with? Can't. I have a meeting with HR on the new mentorship program. But enjoy it. And really listen. Don't just hear. Marcus squeezes Robert's shoulder. Learned from the best. In the executive cafeteria now open to all employees, Marcus meets Mr. Edmund. 63 years old, Gray hair, calloused hands from decades of manual labor. He's visibly nervous. Mr. Marcus, I don't know why I was picked. Because you've worked here 23 years and I've never talked to you. That's a crime. Marcus sits across from him, no formalities. Tell me, what's your day like? What do you do? Edmund relaxes bit by bit. He starts talking about the HVAC systems, the challenges of keeping a 40-story building running, the times he's worked all-night shifts to fix something before the morning rush. People never notice when everything's working, he says. They only notice when it breaks. How do you handle that? Edmund thinks. It's my job to make sure they don't notice. If I do my work right, they stay comfortable. That's enough. Marcus is quiet. How many people like Edmund work daily so others can be comfortable? And how many times on Marcus's shoulder? We saved each other. You gave me a future when I thought I'd lost everything. I showed you the present you were wasting. Fair trade. Car pulls up. It's Peter, Marcus's son, picking up his dad. He rolls down the window. Hey, Dad. Hey, Mr. Robert. Hey, Peter. Robert waves. How's school? Good. And Lucy? Running laps in the park? Chasing birds? Being a kid? Couldn't be better. Peter smiles. Tell her hi from me, Dad. Ready? Sophia's waiting for dinner. Marcus turns to Robert. Dinner with us? Can't tonight. Gotta pick up Lucy from my sisters. But next week. Next week. It's a date. They hug. Marcus gets in the car. As Peter drives, he looks out the window and sees Robert walking to the bus stop. But now it's not a broken man heading to a second job. It's a man with purpose, going to fetch his beloved granddaughter. Dad, Peter says, I wanted to tell you something. What? I was inspired by you, by what you did, and I decided to change majors. I'm going into social work. I want to help people. Marcus feels his eyes well up. Your grandpa would be proud. And you? I'm proud. So proud. When they get home, Sophia is waiting with the table set. She hugs her dad tightly. Dad, you forgot again? Forgot what? It's been 6 months. From that day, Marcus checks the calendar. She's right. 6 months since a tired security guard offered him coffee and changed everything. I didn't forget, he lies. Just processing. Over dinner, they talk about everything and nothing. Sophia's college, Peter's switch, Marcus's work. But mostly they laugh. Connect. They're a family again. After dinner, Marcus sits in the backyard with a cup of tea. His phone buzzes. A text from Robert. Lucy drew something else today. Wanna see? The photo is a child's drawing of 4 people. Robert, Lucy, Marcus, and Helen, identified with a halo and wings, all holding hands, smiling. Below, in wobbly letters, My giant family. Marcus saves the image. He'll frame it tomorrow. Place it next to the other drawing. He types back, Tell her she's right. It's our giant family. And Uncle Marcus loves her and Grandpa so much. The reply comes quick. She sent hearts. Lots of hearts. And says you're a kind prince. Marcus laughs alone in the yard. A billionaire. ECO called a kind prince by an 8-year-old. Somehow, it's the greatest compliment he's ever gotten. He looks at the stars and whispers, Thank you, Helen, for lending us your Robert, for teaching us, through him, what really matters. The wind blows gently like an answer. The next morning, Marcus finds an envelope on his desk. It's from Henry, the former operations director who was demoted. Marcus opens it curiously. Mr. Marcus, I've completed a year in community social programs. You were right. I needed to unlearn a lot. I learned more about leadership, people, and myself this year than in the 2 decades before. I'm not asking for my old job back. I discovered I like working directly with communities more. I'm applying to coordinate our external projects full-time. Thanks for not firing me. Thanks for giving me a chance to be better. Henry. Marcus frames the letter. Next to Lucy's drawing. Next to the $20 bill. Reminders that change is possible. Epilogue. 2 years later, the auditorium is packed again. But this time, it's not a crisis. It's celebration. Marcus is on stage beside Robert. Behind them, a huge banner, Helen Hayes Fund, 2 years saving lives. Today, Marcus announces, we mark 2 years since launching the Helen Fund. In that time, we've helped 247 families, covered 89 surgeries, assisted in 154 financial emergencies, prevented 42 evictions, and most importantly, we've proven companies can have soul. Applause. Robert steps to the microphone. Helen always said kindness multiplies when shared. So today I have an announcement. 12 other companies have reached out wanting to replicate our model. And we'll help. We'll share everything we've learned. Because the more companies care for their people, the better the world gets. More applause. Then Marcus signals for someone to be brought on stage. Lucy Hayes, now 10, healthy, beaming, runs up. She hugs her grandpa, then Marcus. Uncle Marcus and Grandpa. She says into the mic with a child's voice but clear words, thank you for saving me. Thank you for saving so many people. When I grow up, I want to work here and help save people too. There's not a dry eye in the auditorium. After the ceremony, Marcus, Robert, and Lucy walk to the building entrance, the place where it all started. Grandpa, Lucy asks, why do we always come here? Robert kneels to her level. Because this is where I learned that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, always pays off. And I want you to never forget that. I won't, she promises. Marcus puts a hand on Robert's shoulder. Someone were watching from afar. They'd see not a billionaire CEO, an executive director, and a child. They'd see a family. Unlikely, imperfect, but real. Because in the end, that's what that day 2 years ago brought. It didn't just change a company. It saved a child, reconnected a father with his kids, taught that dignity has no price, proved kindness still matters, and showed that sometimes, all we need to change the world is the courage to kneel before our own lost humanity and whisper, I was wrong. Help me be better. The city keeps turning. People keep living their lives. But on the 15th floor of Hale Tech, in a modest office full of kids' drawings and photos of a smiling woman named Helen, there's a plaque on the door that reads, Director of Culture and Human Values, Robert Hayes. Door always open. Coffee always hot. Humanity always first. And below, in smaller letters, in memory of Helen Hayes, who taught us kindness multiplies when shared. Marcus Hale had billions and was empty. Robert Hayes had nothing and was full of dignity. When their worlds collided on that sidewalk, both were transformed. But the question remains for all of us. How many invisible people do we pass today? How many Roberts do we ignore because we're in a hurry, busy, or just don't want to see? And if a simple good morning, a shared coffee, a glance of recognition could change not just someone's day, but the entire course of a life? True wealth, be someone who needs to be seen. And your choice in that moment will define not who you are, but who you choose to be. Choose wisely. Choose kindness. Choose to see. Because in the end, we're not remembered for what we accumulated, but for how we made others feel. And Robert made a billionaire feel human again. Imagine what you can do